In this demonstration, we're going to look at how we can configure send and receive connectors in Microsoft Exchange Server 2019. So what we have is we have the ability to send email and receive email. In order to do that, we have to specify how we send that mail, and we send that mail through connectors. We can have a couple of different types of connectors, to be perfectly honest, under things like send and receive connectors. So what we have is we have anonymous connectors, and with anonymous authentication and anonymous relay, the issue that we have is connections are unauthenticated. And if they're unauthenticated, then potentially that gives us security issues. So the other way we can set up our send and receive connectors is we can set them up securely. And we can do that by protecting, for example, with certificates. We could even use passwords if we wish. So in order to create a send connector, so where we're going to send email to, we can do it in two ways. We can either do it through the Exchange Management Shell, or we can also do it as well through the Exchange Admin Center. So we'll start first by looking at how we would do that through the Exchange Management Shell. And what I'm issuing at this point here is I'm issuing a new -send connector. -name will be sent to internet. -address spaces, so that's for start, so that's everything. And then we've got source transport servers, and we have got lon ex1 and lon ex2. As we can see, we've now created our send connector. So another way to create a send connector is to do that through the Exchange Admin Center. So within the Exchange Admin Center, all we do is we come to send connectors. And on send connectors, what we're going to do at this point here is we're going to create our new send connector. So I've just hit the refresh button just so we can see the one I created through the Exchange Management Shell. So to create a new one, we click on the new button. Now what we need to do is we need to give it a name. I'm going to call this one Secure to Contoso. I can either do a custom connector, I can do an internal, for example send intranet mail, I can send internet mail, or I can use a partner. So for purposes of this demo, what we're going to do is we're just going to go down and we're just going to go for internal, so intranet mail. Next thing we'll do at this point here is we'll just select our next button. Then our next button, what we need to do is we need to specify, as it says here, how we route the mail. So are we just going to use a smart host, or are we going to use DNS? So for purposes of this demonstration, what we're going to do is we're just going to go down the case of adding in a smart host. And the smart host we're going to use will be 172.16.0.10. And then we'll save that off. Select next. Now in the case of our configuring the smart host authentication, what we're going to do is we're just going to go for username. So we're going to go for our basic authentication. We're going to offer basic authentication only after starting TLS. So if we can't use TLS, we'll use TLS, and we'll just put in our username and password. Now we've done that, we'll select next. Then all we need to do in the case of our address space is we just need to specify some information in the address space. So we'll just click our plus button. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to come in and we're just going to fill out the information in the table. And we're using SMTP. We're going to do that for fully qualified domain name contoso.com, and we're happy with the cost of 1. So we'll select our save button. Select our next button. Then it just asks us which server do we want to associate this connector with. And we're only going to associate with lon-ex1. So all mail going to contoso.com will flow through ex1. And read through everything, make sure we're 100% happy that everything is correct, and select finish. So now what we have is we have a way to send email. Next thing we want to do is specify a way to receive email, and we do that through a receive connector. So what we're going to do is make sure we've got lon-ex1 set up, because this is where we're going to set up the receive connector. Select our new button. Then it's going to bring us into a wizard, so we're just going to create this for app client in the case of the name. Under the role, what we're going to go for is we're going to go for front-end transport. So front-end transport is really the client access service component that we get within Microsoft Exchange Server 2019. Then what we're going to do under the client, or the type, is we're just going to come down and we're going to make this for a client. Once we've done that, we'll just select the next button. We're going to remove all addresses. Then what we're going to do is we're going to specify purely 172.16.0.10. So this receive connector will receive email from that IP address. So we'll select our save button, select our finish button. If we just have a look just to see the settings that we have, so we'll just click on edit. So on the general page, it's general information. On the security, so what we can do is we can see the security settings, and then we can see what this is applied to, so we can see the address. So the remote network settings receive mail from servers that have this IP address. So that connector will only receive from that IP address. And that's the end of this demonstration. Thank you.